Hey everyone, I just want to show off this little project. It's actually been, it's actually something I've been working on for a very, very long time. I think I committed to starting this last summer, so it's been over a year since to kind of get to this point. Um, the impetus for this project is actually just a simple video I had seen probably 6 years ago, maybe longer, of a Rose engine doing a turning operation that I had never seen anywhere else. Um, and That video, Rose engines are usually used for like decorative work and things like that, but this was a very unique setup using a revolving cutter and a 90-degree angle fixture rotating apart so that the cutter was actually orbiting the whole workpiece. And I'd never seen anything like that. I hadn't seen it since really either. I found one other video of someone using it to machine a gear form, and I'll put that up too, just to show you the two examples I found of something similar. And I was just captivated by it as a process, and I wanted an excuse to make something that would use it. And as I dug into it, one of the interesting features that emerged was that it's one of the few processes that I realized I don't know how to draw. And by draw, I mean I can define the inputs, I can define the pattern that the machine is going to follow. I can define the arc of the cutting tool, and I can define the profile of the part. But when you put those constraints together, I don't know how to render that in a 3D software, because what you end up with is a deformed toolpath that sort of morphs over the changing diameter of the part. So part of it is that the part is held at an angle so that the cutter doesn't sweep through the arbor that you're using. So that deforms the toolpath. It basically makes it lean one way. And then this diameter is larger than this diameter. So the rosette pattern is actually scaling as it sweeps around the part. And I just don't know how to define that in 3D software. And so it's interesting, when you are like in the arts, I guess, when you're painting something or using clay, it's pretty common to come up with a form that's not easy to define mathematically, but this is a mathematically definable problem that I just cannot render. And so I think that's a lot of fun. I guess to get to the function of the piece, because it has a very simple function, but it's a fun one. So I integrated it because it's got this vortex thing. I thought it would be fun to integrate a bearing into it, not to make it spin, not to make it a spinner, because I think I've done that already. But since this is a decorative technique being applied through machine work, Rose engines and stuff are sort of this ornamental turning, has a long ornamental turning heritage. I thought, and it's for making boxes and pots, so I wanted to make a box or a pot. So the bearing mechanic is there, not to be a spinner, but to make it a pot that you cannot open. So this threads on, this is the lid, and you can't open it. This little bit on the bottom is intentionally too small to grab and hold. So it's a secure pot. And then you have this little key. This is just 3D printed, some pins and a magnet, and then that bit goes in there and locks it down so that you can actually open it. And so that's it. That's the I guess that's the mechanic. Let's not call it a gimmick, or if we want to call it a gimmick, it's a fun one. So and then you just have a fun little pot that you can put your candies in. So for me, I guess this might be the last vessel I make for quite some time. I've made a bunch of different mechanical vessels, and I think, it's probably going to be a while before I make anything else like that. But I did want to, because this is a decorative motif, sort of slide into that sort of craft angles. So I made 3 different, they're all the same, but I just, the operation makes these beautiful single point finishes that they're actually a little shiny. And so I just finished this with vapor honing it with glass beads, and it makes this wonderful pearlescent satin finish. So, and it anodizes beautifully. So, I just tried out a couple of different things, and obviously we can swap the lids to wherever we want. Oh yeah, another thing is, I'll probably take one of these apart in a bit just to show you the bearing, but this one has a roller bearing in it, and that one runs pretty free. It's a little crunchy because when I was fitting these up, I probably got some stuff in the bearing. This one is also a roller bearing. I think this one's a little tighter. It might loosen up over time. I think I put oil on this one, so I think that makes it a little less free running. And then this third one, I just machined a bronze bushing. So this is just a solid bushing, and this actually is smoother, quieter. I like the feel of this one better. Since it's not meant to be a spinner, I think I like this more because it feels more stable. It feels less rattly, and it serves the bearing purpose fine. So I haven't really decided which bearing type I'm going to use. So, oh yeah, the name, no one can tell me what the operation that I'm using is called, like what one would call it. So I've just taken to call it an orbital profiling operation. So it's an orbital single point profile that it's carving out. So I'm going to call this the Orbital Pro-pot, because that's how I think about it. So, yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to say. But I enjoyed making this thing, and I'm probably going to make a few more. So thoughts and comments, welcome.